Welcome back to Crazy Dave's Crew. I'm Laura, and today you are watching a Sew What Box project. We opened this up earlier in the month. I'm a little behind. I think I stayed behind, but that's okay. Never get bored. I have not gone to any of the videos or tutorials. I want to show you the project straight out of the box, following their directions. So far, their instructions are spot on. Love my new pair of scissors. We're going to put these right here so I can use them. And I've put together some notebooks so I can keep up with all my little tips and tricks. The way to press your seams, and the little tidbit of trivia. I love trivia. You can go back and watch some of our Can of Crazy that we did last year, and I really had a good time with that. I think I had more fun than the kids did with the researching. So be sure to check out some of our Can of Crazy. But more than 4,000 different kinds of sewing machines were made in the 1800s alone. That's a lot. So I want to make sure I keep up with my little tips and tricks. And of course the boxes are great for putting in little projects or reusing. I am really happy. I'm really enjoying my projects and my boxes. My little tags, which I will be putting on some baby blankets, baby quilts that I'll be making soon. And I'm just going to put those up here, and making some more dolls. I've got some that I've stitched down on my embroidery machine. I just need to cut them out. And some of them are from Dolls and Daydreams, and they're copyrighted, so I'm sorry if you've asked if I can show how I make my dolls. I really can't. They provide tutorials, but I do like Dolls and Daydreams, and then there's some other ones that I've really enjoyed making. I'm still not that great with the dolls. I'm learning, and it takes a lot of practice. But this month's project, so here is our little instruction page. And it tells you what you get, what you need. You just need a sewing machine, scissors, and iron. Like I said, and she took care of the scissors for this month. There is a PDF that you can print out so that you can make more of this project. And then on the back of the card, it is a hello, Max. I think Max wanted to say hello. I know, baby. He is my big fluff bot, and he knows he's not allowed on the sewing table. But he pushes it all the time, don't you, big guy? The tail, you can make, I don't know if you can see, but that tail is just a swishing. You don't talk to mommy like that. Run. No. Do I have to shut the door? No. He's still thinking about it. I think I was saying that if you look, there's 6 steps, and she really talks you through it very well. So we're going to just follow this and see how our instructions are. If I was a betting gal, I'd say they're spot on just like the other ones, but we're going to give it a go. Alright, he's using the table as a cut through to get to the window. I'm okay with that. He likes being in the window. So we're going to keep this right here so we can refer to it. I have my iron. Okay, I'm going to have to shut the door. You are distracting mommy. Alright, so Grumpy Max has been sent out of the sewing room. Washed my hands because I do like to make sure everything's nice and clean. I have some little extra pins, which I'm going to cut open. Oh, I just used my new scissors for that. And I'm going to go ahead and put these into my pincushion. If you know me, you know how much I appreciate pins, because I am a pinner. I know that I let my fabric slip, and the more you do, the more you know your own style. You know what your strengths and strengths and weaknesses. She also gave me a new machine needle, which I just put a new needle in the other day, so I think I'm okay. So we're just going to put that right into the pin cushion as well. So pins are always great, and you know, you're always bending them, you're always dropping them, you're always losing them. Alright, so I have got 4, because she gives me enough to make 2, so I have 4 of the pumpkin vine stem, and then I have 2 of each of my colors for the pumpkin. And I'm going to say it doesn't matter the order, but I don't think I want to put these 2 next to each other, so I'm going to be careful of my placement for the colors. The color choices, oh, that's nice, I like that, are my downfall. I am terrible with doing colors. Oh, and I do believe that's our backing, and we have a nice spool of thread, which you get one every month. So we're going to just put the backing up here. Alright, so the first, divide the strips into 2 piles of 9 strips, 1 pile for each placemat. Arrange the strips in the order you want them to be, long edges together. Okay. Well, I think the first thing I'm going to do is press them, because we do have a little bit of a bump. And I'm just going to press, not iron, press. I had this silly idea, if I rearranged my sewing area, I'd have more room. I don't really. I tend to stack my projects and things. But I am having a really good time with my sewing room, my sewing machine. That's when David, I had someone talk about, they had MG as well, and I will tell you, having a partner, a spouse, a support system that is as good to me as he is really invaluable. I wouldn't be able to do all the stuff that I do if it wasn't for him. Now, he's probably really embarrassed about hearing what I just said, but he'll have to get over it. So we're going to just put these in an order. And I think I want to do... And they don't have to be the same order. They can be different orders for each project. I do like symmetry, though. Let's see. I say that, and yet I'm talking about with my family that we need to go to flea markets and antique shops and pick up an assortment of different plates and glasses and things. I think that would just be so adorable that your dishes don't match. I mean, they match, but they don't match. Does that make sense? I think that one there. And of course this is half the fun. I think that one there is arranging them out. And then this one, let's see, where do I want this one at? I think that one there. Alright, so I'm only doing one today, so we're going to pick up the other ones. If I wasn't making a video, I would go ahead and do both at the same time. But I don't figure y'all want to sit through and watch me do two at a time, so. Okay. Oh. I need to change my foot. Let's double check. Oh. It says sew the strips along the long edges with right sides together. Press the seam towards the darker strip. Alright, well, so it doesn't say what seam. So I'm going to say it as long as you do the same seam for each one. I'm going to say you're probably okay. Okay, no problem. So I am taking off, I used a zipper foot on a previous project. And I am trying to start keeping my feet separated in these little containers as I use them, and that way there is no digging around. So my zipper foot is there. But apparently I did not put my piecing foot in there when I took it off. Happy, happy, joy, joy. But I am going to use just the standard J foot. And whatever setting I use on one strip, I will use the same setting on all the strips. Bottom line, that's what's important. So it says, Tailor's Tips. Oh, all seam allowances are half on my piecing foot anyway. It pays to read the instructions before you start doing things. It would instruct you to trim off the corners of your pumpkin, but you can be creative and leave the corners square for a more abstract look. Or even cut rounded corners for a more realistic look. Okay, so we've divided the strips. Now it says to sew the strips together along the long edges with the right sides together. Press the seams toward the darker strip of each pair. I'm not going to make y'all watch all of them, but let's get a couple of them put together. And hope y'all are sitting down. I am probably not pinning these. I want to set my needle to the center because that will give me a 1/2 inch if I follow the guide on the J. So my fabric is going to be matched up to the right edge of my J foot. And that should give me a nice 1/2 inch. I'm going to start with some back stitching. Now with the older machines, you do the crank. Sometimes you have a button to push and you use your foot. I'm almost having to get everything reset up and relearn this. I've been using my embroidery machine. Oh, for the days when I remembered everything beautifully. Alright, so we are just going to stitch this down. I have a full bobbin. I'm using white thread. Take the next set. Like a fence rail block, you're going to want to alternate your seams. So when I put these strips together, I'm going to try to sew the opposite direction. That will kind of give everything a little bit more even. But if you forget, I wouldn't stress a whole lot about it. And of course, these don't have to be just for Halloween. These would be great for Thanksgiving. Maybe if you're having a party or something, you know, use them as the for putting a dip on or putting your plate of crackers, or use them as placemats. Could be favors. There's any number of things. Yeah, I wonder about putting some Insulbrite in them and using them as like trivets when you for a church. You bring your casserole and you can set it down on one of these. Let's put a pin in that. Do you guys do that where your mind just races and you think of, like, while you're doing one project, you think of 4 or 5 other projects? I wonder if that's a sign of ADHD. I like this plaid, that's nice. Oh, don't forget, November 8th, the second Tuesday of the month, we're doing a book club. Look for Thursday Threads Book Club on Facebook, and there'll be a link to the book, Last Wool and Testament. It's a haunted yarn shop. Not sewing or quilting, but it's still fiber. It's still creativity. I've got one left, so I'm going to go ahead and get these. And sew these together, and I will most likely change up my pattern. So let me do this. You've kind of seen me do a little bit of sewing, but let me do this and we'll come back when we have all 9 strips sewn together. We'll be back in just a second. I'm actually going to show you how I do some pressing. So I've got my strip. I'm going to lay it down with the darker side up, and I'm just going to press my iron down, kind of setting the seam. Then I'm just going to bring it up like this, and using my fingers kind of And I'm going to kind of go with the roll. And there we go. And it is pressed to the dark side. Well, I messed up. I thought if I put my needle in the center of my foot and used the edge as my guide, I'd get a 1/2 inch. It's a 1/4 inch. So my piece is actually bigger than the backing piece that she provided. So I'm going to have to go back and reseam all of my strips. So I want to correct what I said earlier. Put your needle to the left and use the edge as your guide. Because if we do that, so lesson, check and measure before you assume. So let's put this in here and let's measure it. So from the edge, yep, that's a 1/2 inch. So I wanted the needle to be on the left side and use the right edge of this foot as my guide. So let me fix all my strips. Now on the upside, it's going to be an easy fix. It's not going to alter the design or anything. All I have to do is just go back through and restitch to the 1/2 inch. So I messed up. I will bet you all won't do this again. The best way to learn is to make mistakes. And like I always say, I don't make the same mistake twice. I always go on to make bigger and better ones. So if this is the worst thing that happens to me today, I'm doing all right. So let me get the rest of these stitched. I did go ahead and take the stem pieces, right side to right side, and I just went down this side, and this side, and this side. And I want to double check my seam on these as well. And nope, it's a 1/4 inch, so I need to restitch this as well. So, oops. And let's fix our mistake. I'll be back in just a second. And by the way, I don't mind letting y'all see I make mistakes. It's okay. We're not perfect. We make mistakes, we fix them, we move on. You know? And we learn. Guys, I learn more by doing these videos than you probably do by watching them. And I have a lot of fun with them. My biggest hope is that you're having fun, you try these projects, and sorry, I hope you make mistakes and you learn from them. It's the best way. So let me get these stitched. We'll be right back. I messed up somewhere because my piece of backing is 10 inches and my strips are just a little bit longer. So I'm going to take about a 1/2 inch off of each side. Obviously I didn't get my seams right, but this is an easy fix. If I was just doing it with my own fabric, then I would make it match up, but I'm using the little kit, and I don't think it's Taylor, I don't think it's Throw Up Box, I think it was me messing up on the seams. But again, guess what? If you mess up, you fix it. So I'm going to take just a little bit off of each side, and then we'll go to the next direction. Before I do, I have folded in half like they said to do in step 3. And it says to fold the rectangle in half both ways so that all 4 corners match up. And I'm going to kind of straighten this up a little bit. And then I want to measure 3.5 inches from the corner each way and cut a straight line between these marks. So I'll go 3.5 inches up, and I'll set my ruler about a 45-degree angle, maybe a little less. So let's do that. So I think the first thing is about a 1/2 inch off of each side. And like I said, that's my issue. So let's take a 1/2 inch off. And we'll take another 1/2 inch off. And I'm going to use my fold as my guide so I know I'm getting a straight line. And then I am going to just kind of even this up a little bit. Let's see here, let's put that. You know what? I think my Fiskars ruler will be the best way to do that. So let's do that. If you don't have one of these, I highly recommend them. I really like them. You want to talk about getting a nice even cut. And I can measure, get my seam lined up here. And I don't want to cut a lot off, just a little bit to get it kind of straightened out. Let's do it this way. I'm going to use the lines on the ruler to match up with my seam so I know if I'm straight or not. So like right there, that one is right down the seam. And I'm just going to kind of straighten that up. Maybe just a little bit more. Let's see, let me find a seam that I can match up. There we go, that one right there is good. Like I said, just a little bit more so I'm even. Yeah, I feel better. Pull that out of the way. Alright, and I want 3.5 inches up, she says. So it says right there. So let's find a 3.5 inch mark from the fold. And then we'll do a ruler. So 2, 3.5 is going to be right here. And I've pinned everything so it's going to stay together. And actually, let's see here, 1, 2, 3. Right there. I'm going to use the line on my, I don't like that line. Let's do this line. So that's going to mean coming across. There we go, right there. It's 2.5. So 1/2. There we go. So that's 1, 2, 3.5 right there. And I'm just going to follow the line on my cutting mat. Guys, there is a reason why your mats and your rulers have all these lines. Okay, so we're just going to take that aside. And I'm going to bring it the other side over. 1, 2, 3.5. So let's put that right there on that mark. Match up my fold to the bottom. And I will follow that line again. If it wasn't for my mess up with the seams, these instructions are spot on. And I don't know about you guys, but I will sometimes take what I have learned from one pattern and apply it to another. So again, I'm learning a lot. So let's unpin this. Like I said, I pin. I want to make sure everything is together and straight. Okay. So there we go. My pumpkin. Let's see. Now, we want to turn our stem. So let's give that a turn. You know what? Let's trim the corners. Just a little. So we're going to turn this. I love my Alex Anderson tool. I hate that I've lost the top to this side, but it is what it is and it ain't what it ain't, you know? And we learn to deal. All right. Turn right side out and press. So let's press this. And she says, place the open edge of the green stem at the center of the right side. All right. So let's do some measuring. This is, wrong side, 3 inches on the base. So 1.5 is going to be the center. And this top is 12.5. So half of 12.5 would be 6.25. So right there. So 1.5 is going to go. Let's get a pencil or something. Here we go. Let's use our cutting mat. So 6.25 right there. So I'm using this line right here. Double check. Always double check. Alright, so I'm using this line right here. So 1.5. So right there. Wrong one. Yeah? Alright. This would have gone so much more smoothly if I had not made some mistakes. Alright, so place right sides together with the backing fabric, lining the edges up. And I did press it, but it's holding some of the but that's okay. They'll come out. And let's pin. especially with my stem. And I'm going to turn it over this way so that I have this to use as my guide. We're just going to pin along. Now I want to leave 4 inches, so sew on the edges, leaving a 4-inch hole. And I think that 4-inch hole can be wherever you want, but I'm going to do it at the bottom. So and I'm going to guess if it's a 3-inch hole, it's going to be okay. So I'm still just kind of pinning and kind of adjusting to some of my mistakes. We want to leave a 4-inch hole. But it definitely comes back to measure twice and cut once. I'm going to put this right here. So that's going to be my starting point. That's going to be my ending point. And I'm going to start here and just work my way around. My stem is inside. It'll flip out beautifully. Get everything out of the way. Put my Alex Anderson tool back. Put my scissors back. My instructions. Okay. And get the sewing machine. Well, I hope if nothing else you have seen one, the Sew Up Box Tailor gives really good directions. That is one. And two, even with awesome directions, you can make mistakes. And you go with it. I've always said in my family, we're Marines. Okay, did y'all ever watch, there's a movie with Clint Eastwood, Heartbreak Ridge. And he would always say, you know, they're Marines. You you overcome, you adapt, you improvise. Well, that's us. That's my family. We have had so many plot twists and so many detours, and it's hard to turn on a dime, but you do. I am going to do a stay stitching. My needle's in the left hand position for a good 1/2 inch, and I'm just going to take it slow. Again, guess what? We're not in a race. And I'll pivot. Oh, I love it when I pivot and it's like right on the money. That's fun. But I do kind of like the fact that I messed up in the video. I mean, I hate that I messed up, but I like the fact that you get to see it and you get to know it's okay. Let's see, how's this pivot? See, I'm actually pretty good there because I want to try to follow on my backing as much as I can. I'm kind of eyeballing it. Like I said, nice and slow. We are not in a race. And with practice, and I think that's what it is, I'm getting... So the camera shut off, and I'm not sure exactly where we were at the time, but we are just going to keep on sewing. And anybody that happens to be in the Chattanooga, Harrison, Cleveland, Ottawa area, if you know of a Christmas market, let me know, because I think we might be in the market for being a vendor at a market. Right now we're kind of, in a holding pattern because we're not sure when the baby will decide to enter the world. There we go. I'm going to take that pin out and just go to about right here. Let's do a stay stitch. New scissors. Thank you so much, Miss Taylor of the Sew Up Box, for my new pair of scissors. And now we are going to trim all the excess fabric off. And you can do this with scissors. I like using my rotary cutter. I think it's quicker. And I don't know about you, but sometimes my hand just... I think I need to get a pair of those electric scissors. Just to make sometimes the cutting out a little easier. Alright, so we've got our pumpkin. So we're going to go to our opening and just reach in, pull it out, I want to make sure it's all out there. Now we're going to press it, and then we're just going to seam it down. This is something I have done before, where I'll seam it, and I'll just kind of tuck this in, and then when it seams down, it'll seam down that opening. So, do I like all my openings? No, I don't. I want to do something with this side right here. Remember, work smarter, not harder. And it would probably be awesome if I used her thread for the outside. I think that would be really pretty. But I am going to do this on the next one. For today, I'm just going to use my white thread and go around. But let's press this and get out any other. Get everything nice and sharp. Better. I said we're going to press it down. And you could hand stitch this if you wanted to. I'm going to follow her directions and go around the edge, because it says for the last Step, sew along all edges, leaving a 4-inch hole. Trim corners of backing to match strip pieces. Turn right side out. We've done. Press, turn raw edges in, and top stitch it closed. And we are going to just top stitch all the way around. Press it first. Okay. So far so good. And it says on here it's a 2-minute prep time, but a 55-minute project. Again, if you want to do 3 or 4 at a time, it would cut the time wonderfully per placemat. Of course, that's assuming you don't make a mistake like I did. So Taylor doesn't say to use a 1/4-inch seam or a 1/2-inch seam for the top stitching. I'm going to do a 1/4-inch seam just because I think that looks nicer. We all have our own opinions. It looks like she did a 1/2-inch in the picture, but I'm going to do a 1/4-inch. And like I said, it would probably be prettier if I used her color. Because I said I think that'd be really nice. But for this one, we're just going to do white. No back stitching this time. And I'm coming up to where my raw edges are in there. And I may need to tuck that in just a little bit more. To pull this out here. This machine doesn't do an automatic knot, so I'm actually going to create a knot. Just pulling both pieces of thread to the back and just some simple knots. One more. There we go. Perfect. Nope, one more. And the white's blending in nicely. So I haven't been keeping up with my apothecary studies, my herbalism. And I've been getting an apothecary box, and I'm behind. But I really want to get back to that, so I hope you all are prepared to learn about some herbs and some home remedies. And I don't know about y'all, but saving money is a big issue right now for me. So that's another one to be on the lookout for. One more. And as far as my stitch length, I usually go with the default. And you know the old saying, if you don't learn from the past, you're doomed to repeat it. So we're probably going to be looking at the past to determine on some money saving strategies. Because I don't know about y'all, but our great-grandmothers, or grandmothers, depending upon what generation you're in, it would be my grandmother and great-grandmother. They went through the Depression. You know, we had the Roaring 20s, where life was good and fancy free, and then we had our 30s, where life was tough. You made do, you mended, you did without, you improvised, which comes back to that whole Clint Eastwood character on Heartbreak Ridge of improvise, adapt, and overcome. So I'm not sure when all that's going to get started. Like I said, we're kind of in the holding pattern with the baby. One more, I think. Nope, one more. Perfect. And now I'm going to go over my knot. And I'm going to come back. There we go. Put that under there. And I'm going to do another knot. Well, this definitely, you could really make a lot of adjustments to this. You could put a piece of batting. You could put in a piece of Insulbrite. Two, 3 times of a knot. One more for good measure. Okay. So I did not make one of these before making this video. I went by her instructions, which were spot on. The only problem I had was with my seam allowances. But we adjusted, and I think we did a pretty good job. Might should have put a little bit of Pellon or interfacing in the stem there. But how many times are you going to be holding up your placemat like this? You're not. It's going to be laying down. So there we go. I like it. Taylor, I think you did a great job. I am thoroughly pleased with my box, and I will be continuing as long as I'm able to. These are awesome. These are not difficult. They're quick, they're simple, and they're utilitarian. So be sure to check out below if you're interested in subscribing to the So What box. There'll be a link. It is an affiliate link. I will get just a little bit of back, and maybe that'll help me buy that new AccuQuilt so I can get bigger dies and make bigger projects. Would love a new embroidery machine that I can have bigger hoops. The largest hoop I can do is a 6x10, and I have seen so many projects, stockings and bibs and burp cloths that need 7x12 or 8x14 or something, and my machine just doesn't do that. Back when we got it, it was really great. I don't think they had larger hoops then, but that was 9-10 years ago. But there we have it. We have our pumpkin. So I need to work on my seam allowances, and we'll just kind of go from there. But I love it. This is awesome. And yeah, right about an hour, I think. So she was spot on. Be sure to find us on Facebook, Sewing and Crocheting for Beginners, Thursday Threads Book Club, Crazy Dave's Crew, and if you're interested in what's going on in our backyard, our teeny tiny Tennessee homestead, you can check out the Crazy D Ranch in Rabbitry. And if we have, when darkness is coming, the time change and colder weather, David's going to be working on our website, cdcrew.com. And we'll hopefully be getting started more on that. Blogging and patterns, ideas, thoughts and musings. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Stay warm, stay dry, and don't forget to come back for more right here on Crazy Dave's Crew. Thanks for watching.